and whatever. Hold on one second. Okay, so I tried to do this a little bit differently and was trying to do this with Restream so that I could show everybody my PowerPoint, but I will put the PowerPoint in the thingy dooger. I will put the PowerPoint in the classroom after this, as well as the recorded class. So I do have a PowerPoint that I'm going to go by, just kind of, I want to make sure I don't miss anything for you guys, because when you go out to do this kind of stuff, it's important to make sure you cover all your bases, because like me, when I started, I didn't. And it, you know, of course we came home with Sonny the Haint. So it's really important to make sure you take care of yourself when you're doing this. Hi everybody, the thingy dooger, the thingy dooger. It's a thingy dooger. We all have a thingy dooger, don't we? It's in the whatchamacallit drawer. Yeah, the thingy dooger. Okay. So let me get comfortable. So what we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk about ghost hunting, and I had totally anticipated doing this where you guys could see the PowerPoint, but I'm going to go through this. I don't need the PowerPoint. This is like second nature information for me. I absolutely love ghost hunting, and we're not going to call it ghost hunting pretty much. We're going to call it investigation, because what I learned early on doing this was actually after ghost hunting and moving into more of a spiritual experience for me, it became more of an investigation than it did a hunt. So I think it's really important to know the differentiation there. And we're going to go into that. But so let's talk about ghost hunting. Investigation. I feel like investigation is a better word for it, simply because we are out there trying to gather information. And as we go along and we talk about this, we may find that there is a way to help energies transition over, and we'll talk about that. But what I want to talk about first is how we prep ourselves. I'm reading comments over here, you guys, as I am. I can create, honest to God. As I'm reading, as I'm talking, I have messages over here that I'm reading, and if you guys have something to say, I will incorporate that in the class, because I don't know if they're going to be able to see the live chat over here or not when I download this. But yes, you'll notice online, you'll see a lot of sensationalism nowadays from the times that ghost hunters come on, which is really what kind of started all of this for myself and our youngest son, Glenn. We went out ghost hunting on battlefields and things like that. Now, as a battlefield thing, I wouldn't maybe suggest going out and running around battlefields in the middle of the night. First of all, they close at dusk generally, and they don't want you running around out there. And it is sacred ground. And at the time, I didn't even think of it as being so much sacred ground, but a really cool place to go investigate. So as you go out, make sure you're not trespassing. This is a big deal. Don't go running around in people's yards and their properties and trespassing. It's rude. And you also, by the way, can get prosecuted for it. So let's not do that. When you're going to go out and do something like this, it's important to make sure you're prepared. Okay. We went out in the middle of the winter in Virginia and was investigating at Sailor Creek right outside Farmville. And what was happening was the first night scared the crap out of ourselves, or at least me, because I breathed, and we had one of the first digital cameras, cameras that were out. I think this is the only place that I can see your guys' comments. I went over to the other site and I do not see comments here. So I'm going to write comments can be seen on YouTube. This is the first time I've done this, you guys. So this is the first time I've done the live stream on our group. I wanted to make sure that I could do it, and I was tinkering with it today, and it just kind of gave me some more issues before I started. So make sure you're prepared. Make sure you're dressed warmly. Okay, if you're going into, if it's in the thingy dooker, if you are going into a cold area, just know a lot of these places don't have heat. So you're going to probably want to dress warm. Take gloves. That is so important. I can't tell you how many times we had gone out onto an investigation and we were cold out there, and it really does make it uncomfortable. And I've got to tell you, these are not the most energetic things to tend. Okay. It is not the most, let's run around. It's nothing like you see online. I'm sorry. They spend nights and nights and nights collecting investigation material. You don't generally go to an investigation and just run out there and pick up information, unless you're working as an intuitive, which gives you the edge. But you're going to sit there for hours and hours and hours, and you're going to be hungry, you're going to be cold, you're going to be bored shitless. And that's okay, because the fun part is when you go to analyze the evidence. That is the fun part. Because generally you may feel a brush, you may feel something like that. If you're aware, clairsentient, and you're aware of energy in a room, you're going to feel that. You might know where to put the camera and point the camera, and that's awesome. But just know, go prepared. Take some snacks, take some gloves if it's going to be cold out, and just really be prepared to sit there and listen and pay attention. And that's really what a whole investigation is. You see people out there sensationalizing online, and that's pretty much why I quit watching a lot of them, is because they're like, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to be the tough guy, and I'm going to go sit in that room that nobody can sit in, right? And what do? They go in there and they provoke, piss things off till they really do get a pushback, instead of going in with compassion. It is hard in that situation to enjoy watching a program when you see them provoking energies. So what we're going to go into on this is we're going to talk about the prep work of going in, making sure we're taken care of. Now, the first time when I was going out, I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know any better. And eventually my cousin walked up to me with a snowflake obsidian talisman, and she said, don't leave home without it. And so finally I started carrying this thing around with me, and I found that I felt much more secure when I went into a building. And Samantha's like ghost hunters. Actually, ghost hunters, when they first started, were very respectful. They were very respectful. And I've actually met Grant. I've met Grant. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy. And his wife also is an intuitive. I believe Grant's an intuitive as well, but I don't think he's out of the closet. And, so he, actually, we met him at Alien Con this past year. Very nice people. And I got to walk up to him and say, thank you. Because really, it was their group that got me started on my spiritual journey, along with Glenn, our son. So, it's the strangest things that spark incredible things in our journey. So when it comes to our first investigations, Glenn and I were by ourselves, and we had that digital camera, and it was so cold out, and I like that, and all of a sudden this air, this breath of foggy air come out. I took off towards the car, left my kid there, but I went back for it. He ran too. We realized what it was right away, and we turned around, we head back. That was our first investigation, and what we realized with that is you don't run from the room. I'm seeing comments on YouTube. That's where I'm seeing comments. I thought it was in the private membership group that I would be able to see them, because that's where it's shared to, but this is unfortunately the only place that I'm seeing comments. So when we're going out, and I wanted to be able to share this PowerPoint that I put together for you guys today, but obviously I'm not able to do that because I don't think YouTube allows me to do that, and that's okay. It's okay. So as we're going to go on, we're going to talk about working as an intuitive. When you step off into your first investigation or any investigation, it is so, 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 so important, especially for the people that are consciously aware of being an intuitive, to ground, center, and protect. And do it consistently throughout the night. When you're sitting there and you feel like there's an energy off over there, I strongly recommend ground, center, protect. All the time. Call in Archangel Michael, carry your stones. All of the things, almost all of the things that you would do normally to ground, center, and protect, they need to be out in full force. You need to be thinking about them, because just like I brought Sunny home, I was just tinkering around that day. That's all I was doing. It wasn't an investigation or anything. She said, "Can you check out my bathroom?" And I said, "Sure." So I did, and I got an image of him like that, and that's all it took for him to come home with me on a 16-hour drive. 16-hour drive. He was in the car the whole time, and I was consciously aware of him, but I didn't know what to do at the time. So it's really, really important to call in your guides, bring in your protection, really wrap yourself up with protection in your guides. I cannot stress that enough. And I don't go on investigations. And I was telling Sam today that the technology has changed so much that I would like to go out on investigations, but I just haven't found a group around here that I want to do that with. And that is something we're going to talk about in a minute. What not to do before an investigation is equally as important as what to do. You need to avoid, and when you hear me say most of the normal things you would do for protection, please don't wear essential oils when you're going out on a hunt. It has absolutely nothing to do with, I don't want to smell pretty. It has everything to do with, you don't want someone to consider that you're having a phantom, that they're experiencing a phantom smell. So in regards to that, please don't wash with very florally or musky smelling body wash beforehand. It really does carry with you, and then people are matrixing like they would photos. They're noticing extra little things in the dark that they wouldn't have noticed before. So make sure you keep it to a very basic soap before you go on a hunt, an investigation. Make sure that you're not wearing perfume. That is one of the biggest things people do, women do before going on these hunts, is they'll put on perfume. Or the homeowners will put on perfumes. The business owners will put on perfumes. And it really kind of throws people off, because when you take away one sense and you shut the lights off, and it can get dark. Okay. We have been in the basement in Underground Railroad, like right outside the Underground Railroad tunnel in Ohio, and there is no light at all. So when you do that and you deprive yourself of one sense, all of a sudden everything else pops up and you catch all sorts of scents and things like that. The same thing about jewelry. Please don't wear bangle type jewelry. You'll get women that will have watches that make noise. They want to wear earrings. You're going to be in an overnight sleepover in the worst conditions sometimes, either outside, in an old building, in a cemetery. Heaven forbid, I don't do cemeteries very often. I've only ever done one. Not because they're scared. I'm scared of them so much as it just is not where they're going to hang out. I don't know. And the other thing is, if you have a voice recorder on you, please don't eat. Don't do this. You can ruin 20 minutes of great investigative material if you are eating next to the voice recorder. They're so sensitive that your bag of Doritos is going to sound like the house is falling down. So make sure that you're not eating during your investigation. These things are so important. You will have other investigators hating on you so bad if you're doing these things. And they'll just sit there and they'll look at you like you are on your very first day. So the other thing that I would suggest not doing is talking during an investigation. You'll find that a lot of people get set in the dark, they get nervous, and then all of a sudden they want to chat. They want to chit chat between, somebody wants to talk to you because they need to feel that presence of somebody else there. So make sure that is another thing you're not doing, is trying to just have a talk show going during investigation. And what is even worse than talking is mumbling. Mumbler. Nothing is worse than mumbling on an investigation, because when somebody goes back to review the audio, what you may find is somebody was like, well, I don't really like that. And they're going to think that it is evidence. And I am one of myself, Sam, Glenn, we're some of the biggest debunkers when it comes to this stuff. We're like, yeah, but it sounds like it could have been so-and-so mumbling. And we're going to talk about choosing the right group in a second, because that's super important. But it is so important to mark if you mumble. If you mumble during an investigation, you have to go, that's me, that was me. You have to own it, because if not, people are chasing shadows all over the place in investigations when they hear that mumbling, and it is a huge waste of time. So make sure you're not mumbling. I know that sounds silly, but we do it all the time and we don't realize it. And the other thing is, don't dude run it, okay? If something makes a noise, you hear a knock, you see something, you feel something, you get a piece of physical evidence versus technical evidence, don't drop everything and dude run it, okay? It is unprofessional. A lot of times you go into homes with homeowners or business owners to do this type of thing. And if you're just going to drop your equipment and run, then you weren't prepared to go sit in the dark and do this type of investigation. There will be instances when it can get scary and you may be touched and you hear things and stuff like that, but you just can't drop everything and run. It's unprofessional. And it just doesn't look good. So keeping a professional attitude when you step into this type of thing is really kind of important. You wouldn't think it would be, because you're thinking, investigation, paranormal hunt, but a lot of times what happens is you go into these situations because somebody's scared, because somebody has a fear of living in their home, or they're just curious about what's going on. But you don't want to stumble in with a beer in your hand saying, here, we're here for the night, and acting like a juvenile teenager out there trying to do this. It cheapens your evidence. It cheapens your evidence. And you want to come across, there's so much cheap evidence out there that you really want to make sure that you are being on point with this. I see a ton of comments, and I'm going to stay over here doing the class, because I'm going to go back to comments later, because I see a ton of them over here. Dude, run! Did you guys ever see that Ghost Hunter episode? It was so funny. So a couple investigations we've been on. I think Sam actually went on the brewery one that is the oldest building, one of the oldest buildings in Toledo, Ohio, where they used to have the Underground Railroad in. I think he went on that one with us. I can't remember. But you go into these situations where you are maybe in the newspaper, or you may have this written up and put up on the wall where they have evidence that they're haunted, things like that. So that's why I'm really big on going. And we used to have matching t-shirts, and we went in and we had a very hushed demeanor about it, because when we're dealing with spirit, they can take offense too if you walk in being rude. And I know that sounds a little bit odd, but a lot of, and you have a couple different kinds of energies you're working with. You have a reoccurring energy, a reoccurring ghost that's just kind of like a loop, a memory that's in the energy playing in a room. But then you sometimes have a cognizant ghost, a cognizant spirit that is aware of your presence and communicates with you. Now, I ain't gonna lie. That's cool. When you start getting K2 hits and answers to yeses and nos, and we're going to go into equipment in just a little bit, it gets really amazing really quickly. So professional. And when you're working with homeowners, you want to give them a sense of comfort. You don't want to walk in and be like, oh, yep, you've got 12 ghosts in that room. Good for you. We're leaving. You want to have the person at the forefront of your group that is going to be very PC. Okay. Now, when I lived in Toledo, I was in the forefront speaking to people. And then my role kind of shifted when I started doing more intuitive work, became more of the sensor. trying to find information. But I do enjoy working at the forefront, talking to people, because you have to be able to you have to know what that person needs. If they're like, this is so cool, you can be excited with them. And if they're like terrified, you can be the very calming, reassuring individual that's going to be like, we're going to try and figure this out. And if at the end of this investigation, we find something that you need help with, we're going to work to the best of our ability to help you. Don't just try to go in, gather evidence, and drop them after you're done. You are an intuitive. You are somebody that can work with the other side. If you feel that that energy is aware and needs help transitioning over, then that is what you may be called to do. And I think that's probably one of the main reasons I don't go out as much anymore, or hardly. I haven't been out in years now, and I would love to go out on another investigation, because now I look at things differently, and I think that it would be totally different, and I'm excited about that. So when we're going out, when we would go out, you just have to know how to deal with people. You don't put the teenager at the front. So let's talk about a reputable group. By a reputable group, I mean a reputable ghost hunting group. I've been in a couple. And the last one we kind of stepped away from, Glenn and I were in it, our youngest. And it was because every bump, every shadow, everything was a ghost. And we got to the point where you would go, but this is this. And they would argue. No, nope, this is this. This is a ghost. And I'll go, but this is this person's voice mumbling. And nope, they didn't. They swear up and down they didn't mumble. Swear up and down. Every orb, every wisp, everything was a ghost. And it's great and everything to want to have valid information. But when you overblow it and you don't follow the evidence to its conclusion, then you're just sensationalizing and not being accurate. And you could eventually just really freak someone out to the point where they make life changes, where they walk away from their home because you said it's super haunted and didn't realize the consequences that would have. So it's really important to find a good group, a group that has a level head on their shoulders, that are not going to run in and try to piss everything off in the house. Because just imagine the house is haunted, totally haunted. You go in with your little ghost meters and probing and asking all sorts of questions and getting everything all hyper and energetic. And then you're like, yeah, you got a ghost. And you would leave. What do you leave the homeowner with? Don't poke and prod and provoke. We are there to observe. And that is it. So when you see these people online that they do it for the ratings, it's really kind of rude. And I hope you kind of look at it a little bit differently if you're watching these programs, and think about it from a spiritual perspective rather than a ratings perspective. It's cool, it's fun, they're sitting there in the dark, blah, blah, blah. But you can collect great evidence and find it in the reveal without infuriating energies. There are going to be instances where you're going to feel the need to refer this on to somebody else. I don't think that we ever came across anything demonic in nature. And by demonic, I mean an energy that has forgotten who it is, or an elemental that is askewed, okay, that is just way off. You do run across stuff that feels a little darker than you would like. And those are generally the ones that you need to help move along and help transition over. We don't just sage the home, hopefully, we don't just sage the home and walk away. All right. You want to call in your guides, call in your angels, ask them to help energies transition over, sage the home, bring in a sense of peace and calm for the homeowners. And show them, if they need to know how to sage a home, show them how to do it. It's important to be able to take care of your own area and teach them to be forceful with their own energy, to walk around their house and say, this is my location. This is my area, and you are not allowed. So you're allowed to teach these people how to do these things. So that's kind of cool. You're empowering them as you go along. I do love, you know, I have I have the PowerPoint in front of me just because I was like, I don't want to forget anything because I get excited talking about this. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. You meet some really great people, make some great friends doing it. The other thing I want to talk about is, and I kind of had this slide out of order. When it comes to being prepared, make sure you sleep beforehand. Don't come into this having worked a 12-hour shift or a 15-hour shift in advance of it. Nobody wants to record your snoring. They really don't. And I cannot tell you how many times I've heard snoring on audio. So make sure that you have plenty of rest to come in and do this. And I'm not kidding. There's been plenty of times. Okay, so let's talk about equipment because equipment is important, but it's not as important as you think. I have, and I actually have it in the other room, I didn't bring it in here. I have found in my old EMF detector, they're fine, they don't go bad. When you're looking for EMF, it's electromagnetic fields. And actually you'll find that in some cases, you can walk into a home and debunk it in the first 20 minutes. You can walk into a home and go, no ghosts, no ghosts. Because you can walk with your EMF meter and notice that they're in what's called a fear cage. When they have so much electromagnetic field in their home from old wiring, faulty wiring, old fuse boxes and things like that, these actually create a state of paranoia. You will feel physical effects from living in a fear cage, and you can tell that with a simple EMF meter. So generally, when you have something like that happen, you can debunk that and say, hey, fix this, fix that. You're going to feel a whole lot better. You have nothing to worry about. Now, is that always the case? No. I think we've maybe had 2 out of all the investigations that we had done that were fear cage based. So, but it is a great thing to know that we can be affected by the electrical system in our home because we are an electrical body. Consider it a short circuit. A good headlight, and I'm talking about the kind you put on the top of your head, or a good flashlight is a really important thing to have. You would not believe how many people forget them when they go on an investigation, but it's really important to have one of those. We used to carry the ones that would sit on your head so you had your hands free if you needed it. A good video recorder or camera that has infrared is a bonus. It really is a bonus. We had a video recorder, and we also had a closed circuit television set that cameras that would go infrared as well. Now, the infrared is really great for catching things moving in the middle of the night. We use them in the stalls, but ours are in color. No, those are black and white. We use them in the stalls for mares and babies, but you know, we transitioned obviously from ghost hunting to mares, but it is really invaluable. You can set them up. They're small, they're unobtrusive, and you can catch some of the best evidence of things moving in that IR light. It's really, really great. The other thing that I would suggest is little walkie-talkies. We don't always have time to turn on the phone to give somebody a phone call, or maybe our phone is being used for audio, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But a nice little set of walkie-talkies just to be able to talk back and forth. The other thing I like about walkie-talkies is they are loud. So when you do talk, you know that it is a walkie-talkie and not somebody whispering over here trying to get somebody else's attention. It is important to know that you have somebody talking. Thermal lasers. You can find the gun lasers, and I don't know where mine is, but where you take it and you pull the trigger, and it's got a laser that shoots and it gets the temperature of whatever you're working on or trying to get the temperature on in the room. Now, the thing that I have to say about this is there are many, many times that I would have rather have had just a thermometer, a digital thermometer that would have read the ambient temperature in the room. Because when you're trying to pick a cold spot and you're shooting a laser, and it's going to measure the wall behind the cold spot, not necessarily the ambient temperature. So maybe 2 of these different types of thermometers would be a really great idea for finding cold spots. And then the other thing is for when something has touched the wall or leaned against the wall or a chair that you know that maybe the temperature has either raised or lowered versus where it should normally be in the room temperature. So those are really, really invaluable. The other thing I want to talk about, my favorite piece of equipment, is the K3 meter. K3, not K2. Now I'm so used to saying K2 with stones. The K3. The K3 is a handheld device, and I swear, if you have a penny, it's perfect. It has this little tab at the top. I don't know why they don't make it so it locks down, but you put a penny in it and you set it off to the side, and it has these 5 little lights on it. You set it over there and you can start asking questions. When the energy feels right and you're sitting there and you start asking questions, and you tell them that if they come closer to that meter, lights will come on, and I know that you mean yes. The first time your lights come on that K3 meter is so much fun, because then you know they understand what you're talking about, and you can start asking yes and no questions. I think this is some of the most energetic information you can get from them, because they are really paying attention. They're aware of you there. You know they're there, and you can ask questions and get those really cool answers. While you're doing that, back when I was doing, we didn't have all these huge smartphones, but we would take the recorder, and we would record it. So you could do that with your phone. That's why it's important to have maybe those walkie-talkies, because if you're recording something, you're like, hey, here we have evidence, but you don't want to turn off your phone. So it's important to have multiple things to be able to do that with. But those are a lot of fun. And then we have what's called the FLIR, which is the it detects heat. I can't remember exactly what it does. It detects the heat in the room. So you've probably seen these on ghost hunts where they're like, look over there, there's a warm spot over there, or the Bigfoot thing, and it catches the different heats in the ambient temperature. So that's a really cool tool to have. Also a very expensive one. So if you have one of those, you're pretty lucky. The other one I want to talk about, invaluable. And this is the other reason you'd be using your phone, a voice recorder, you guys. Voice recorder. You can set up a voice recorder in your own home, or wherever you think it may be that you have spirit, and ask it to speak into that. And I'll tell you what, some of the most incredible evidence that I've ever experienced has been on the voice recorder. And we would sit for hours, or you just sit there with the headphone on for hours, listening and listening and listening. And the software you can get to this is so much better now than it used to be. But what happens is, since they are so much more frequency than anything else, a vibration, they can affect change, and that registers on the EMF recorder. Now, the EVP recorder. Now, if you hear it audibly, it is a disembodied voice. It is not EMF. No, EVP. EVP, too many E's. If you hear it audibly, it is not an EVP. EVPs are recorded on devices. So it's really cool. It is probably one of the best pieces of equipment to gather information. And you can buy them anywhere. You got them on your phone. So they're really kind of cool. Now, the final one we're going to talk about today is the Ovilus, or the Ghost Box. The Ghost Box is a really cool piece of equipment. You can turn the Ovilus on, and it will start to eventually feed you words. This works on frequency. So what happens is, you tell the energies in the room, if you work really hard, you can bring energy and voices and words across on this box. And every once in a while, it'll start to shoot a word out. Now, I have known people that will listen. They'll turn this thing on and they'll listen to it all day in their home. It can be a little addictive. Just know that some are not as accurate as others, and you don't want to just waste your day listening to see if spirit wants to talk to you through the Ghost Box. It is just, I seriously have known people that are like, the Ghost Box said this today, and I'm like, really? So it's a tool. It is not a toy. And if it works for you, that's great. Some people it works for better than others. Energies feel more compelled to work with some people over others. So just know that. That's pretty cool too. Okay, so let's move on. Now, because we have all this evidence that's coming across, sometimes we have physical things happen during the investigation that maybe we had another person sitting there and they experienced the same thing. It's so important to what? Journal. Journal, write it down, because if you don't write it down, you'll probably forget about this tiny little incident in the huge span of time that you spent sitting bored stiff in the middle of the night. So make sure you write things down. Your most important things are going to happen at 3 o'clock in the morning ish in that area. So don't think you're going to be like, you know what, it's 2 o'clock, I'm tired, I'm going to leave, because then you're missing the hotspot time. And of course, the neighbor's going to come visit. Honey, he's here. So just know that it's important to have somebody with you also to validate what you experience as well. It doesn't do you any good if you are sitting there in a room and the chairs start flying and nobody there to validate it. You didn't have any equipment, you didn't have anything, and you had nobody to validate it. So just know that it's best to travel in pairs when you're doing this. I always suggest going with somebody else and never going on an investigation alone. A lot of times when you're doing investigations, you're going to places that are older, okay? And you may find that you come into a dangerous situation, loose floorboards, things like that. We've had that. We've experienced that. We've gone to old warehouses and things along those lines. So you want to make sure you have a ghost hunting buddy, investigation buddy. Sorry. As he does his bark. Okay, I can see you guys. I swear that dog is driving me nuts. So I am going to come back to your comments in just a minute. We're almost to that point. Okay, so I want to talk really quickly about your cell phone. I want to talk about your phone. I don't have mine in here because I really don't have any of these apps on my phone per se anymore. But I had gone to visit my father, Bill, down in Texas, and he wanted to go on an investigation. So we went to the Matagorda Cemetery down in Texas, which is really haunted. And we sat there and we went through some stuff. We downloaded the obelisk onto our cell phone. We downloaded voice recorders onto our cell phone. You can record different types of energetic ambient energies that are determined by motion sensing on your cell phone off in the distance. And I know it's really, I recommend you go look it up online and find the best one for you. But what I did in my research in the last couple of days is I was looking for some of the best ones that you can put on your phone. So what I found was the Ghost Hunter M2 is developed by engineers and has 4 or 5 different functions on it. So you can actually check into it. It's a little bit technical in some of the areas of it, so make sure you read about it and don't get frustrated with it, and check that one out. And that's the Ghost Hunter M2. The second one I found that was really, really good that I thought was cool was the Ghost Evp Sensor. And the Ghost Evp Sensor has a sliding capability, so it will drop out, the dog barking and stuff like that in the back. So you can have that sliding sensor, which is very important when you're actually doing an investigation. And then the last one was the Echovox Ghost Box. So it's kind of like the obelisk, where it starts to eventually push out words that you can, and sometimes you'll find that it gives names, it gives information about where the location is. Sometimes it's very accurate and sometimes it's extremely random. And my guides actually say it has everything to do with what you have going on in the airwaves around you. So if you're around more of like, if you're sitting outside of a radio tower, I wouldn't trust it. Stuff like that. So just know that there is all of these really cool things that are available, and some of them are like $1.99, 99 cents. Some of them are free. I wouldn't maybe trust those so much. But just know that they're available to you, and you can go have some fun with very little investment involved in it. And I mean to tell you, when you get your first piece of evidence, it is just the most amazing thing. It's just a whole lot of fun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stroll over here because I see you guys just commenting like crazy over here, and we're going to talk about we're going to talk about hi Laura Keating, hi everybody. We're going to talk about what we have heard here. Where can you see comments? Yeah, okay. He's out there talking now, it's so loud. danger. Stay away, Will Robinson. Yeah, gut. When your guts say run. You know what's really funny is now, I think I would have that more flight survival thing going on. You want to feel compassionate, but still, like I said earlier online, I pick my feet up off the floor. When I'm getting in bed and I feel that the energy in the room, that there's something there, my feet come up off the floor. I don't care. I'm an adult, but still, you know, Miss Laura. Yeah, keep it clean and simple. No strong deodorant or antiperspirant. Absolutely. It's very distracting. Very, very distracting. And you're sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, I smell something. Claire olfactory, you guys, we do pick up phantom smells. So if you're catching it in the dark, it's going to seem a little bit more pronounced. Nancy Boyer says, Battle of Lexington was fought near your house. Really? Felt very strange things there when young. Scared my mom when I told her I could hear people screaming. Aww. Oh, no. This is a no situation. Thank you. Go away. Lexington, Missouri, not Kentucky. Gotcha. Melissa Goen says, Nancy, I live on an island in the middle of Fox River. Kuakuna was where the tribe in the area would meet and trade. How awesome is that? Now, our house in Ohio is on what's called the Black Swamp Trail, and it is where the Indian population that was local then at that moment, because they had some transient ones going through, it was the only line through the Black Swamp of Northwest Ohio. And then the Corps of Engineers came in and they filled it all in and they created all these huge ditches and created farmland. So, but we live right on the trail and you can walk up and down the cornfields and stuff and pick up arrowheads and find old rocks from where they had fires and things. So there's a lot of lore around us as well. Hey, hey, hey. Whoa. You've been to the catacombs in France. It was really sad. But you know, most of the people in those catacombs were buried there, you know, and it wasn't as a violent death as you know, but I mean, the catacombs, you know, they'd be spooky. They'd definitely be spooky. Oh, you were 16. Yeah, probably a little sensitive and too young for that. I was told don't move and don't know what there was. Told no, you go nowhere. Okay. Residual haunts. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I was trying to smooth over it by not knowing that I don't remember the word. Hey, Kim Ingram. Crazy. At 7, my mom thought I was making it up to get attention and was such a loner. The last thing I wanted was to hear things that aren't there. I didn't want to hear it at all. Right? I saw where Anne Bly and 6 of Henry VIII wives were killed. God. That's just as bad as jealous and wanting to control someone who can. Okay, let's see. Oh, Hall of Mirrors. Wow. Sounds like Ghost Adventures. Okay, breathe, Samantha. Remember, breathe. I've hitchhiked across the country several times. Wow, Nancy. Long before I was almost guaranteed an almost guaranteed bed, right? And I had a lot of fun and went a lot of places probably wouldn't have been able to go. Yeah, that's really probably true. EMF is fascinating. I agree, Laura. It is fascinating. The way our body is affected by the energy around us is just insane. It really, really is. Nancy says, it's like a card reader who reads by looking at the person and throwing out, right? Throwing out a memorized spiel according to looks. It's insulting. Absolutely. You know, if I'm sitting there and I have somebody in front of me and I don't have anything for them, I'll tell them I ain't got nothing. I'm sorry, today's not your day. It's important to have integrity. I agree, Lisa, that it's not right how these shows do that. Oh, it's horrible. I watched one. I saw a part of that before I knocked out phone on face kind of thing. I watched one, and this is about when I stopped watching, where the guy's like, this is the devil's room. I'm going to go stand there. And the wife's outside. Oh, no. You know, and I'm thinking, are you shitting me? Don't go in the room. It's supposed to be the devil's room. Why would you go in alone? Alone. If you are concerned, you never, ever, ever go in a place alone. Are there things that can create scratches? Absolutely. Absolutely. But never do it alone. And so when I watched that, I was like, you know what? I'm pretty much done with these ghost hunting programs. Just done. Because he went in there with like stuff to poke it with. No, you're just an idiot. You're just an idiot. And there's water in here. Okay. Hot or cold spot? Yes. What is a disembodied voice? It is exactly what it is. Exactly what Jennifer says. They happen sometimes when people are really opening up. You hear a voice across the room. Now, I think probably the creepiest EVP I've ever gotten was I was sitting there and we were in this old speakeasy. Okay. It's an old warehouse in Toledo, Ohio, right on the river. And they had it on the river because everybody parked their boats out there. And if the police came, that they could run out the back and everybody scattered. Okay. So it was an old speakeasy. And I was sitting there and I was on the upstairs and I just felt like I wasn't alone. I had somebody over here sitting there eating Doritos next to me. And I just could feel something over to the right. So I took my recorder and I set it over on the steps over there and I came back and sat next to Dorito Girl. And I'm sitting there trying not to be annoyed by the Doritos. And after about 15 minutes, I was like, okay, we're done. And I went and grabbed my recorder. So I put my headphones on and I'm sitting there and I'm listening. And I hear, this is what I hear. How did she do it? She was like, I'm sitting here, I'm here, and nobody knows where I am. And it was a little girl. Freaked me the hell out. Because it was a little girl. And I thought, oh, poor honey. You know, I didn't know what to do at the time. I didn't know how to help transition her over or anything like that. I really wish I have somebody that's watching me from the door talking about ghost hunting. I need an EVP recorder. But you have to follow your gut on these things, you guys. Go put the recorder where you feel like you need to record it. Point where you feel like you need to do the camera. I'm close enough to Nancy Bulliard and Laura Keating. We can find some place to investigate, man. I am not even kidding you. I have the bug at the moment. I do. Okay. Kim Ingram. Where do we go here? I saw it and I moved. I touched a button. Oh. Yep, interesting. Okay, wait, I missed something. What's debated greatly? You can't determine if I am serious. If there's a physical body, it would be just a voice. Oh. If he's... Oh, what energies trigger a trail camera that is set up for motion? You know what? It's so hard to say on that. It really, because you're outside investigations are the hardest. So if evidence from outside is gathered, you have to rip it apart. And if there is nothing that you can see there, you just have to assume that there's a glitch. Was it a glitch? Probably not, but we don't have the evidence to say this was that. Now, if you have a huge white cloud go in front of your trail camera in a vertical motion, or up and down, like that, and your trail camera goes off, then we got something to talk about. But really, it's hard to say, because it could have been a raccoon ran by and it just ran right out of frame. So it's really, really hard to say. It's really hard to say. But can things put it off? Absolutely. Absolutely. But unless you catch it, it's not evidence. It's just speculation. Okay. Jennifer can't determine if she's serious. She's really asking questions. She's really asking questions. She's asking great questions too. She is adorable. She's adorable. She doesn't know. So it would be, we would have to take Samantha on a hunt investigation. Can anybody give me input? How would we take Samantha on an investigation? She is like so full of energy and life. It would be hard. We'd have to tie her down. She's adorable. Okay. We'd have to tie her down and then let her speak when she's like, there's something over there. She's very sensitive. Journal, you guys. I know there's no talking back and forth in this, and I'm sorry. I planned on doing this through Restream, and it wouldn't go through because I was going to bring people on, and it just did not go that way. Like dead body smell. The Black Swamp Trail. Yes, the Black Swamp. Ohio, a good portion of Ohio, Northwest Ohio was all black swamp. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was, you're the same way. See, now I'm behind. I don't know. I would not want to go to the Tower of London. Now here's the funny story, Laura. Here is a funny story. She says, I can't have my feet out of the covers. And I used to. I couldn't sleep with my feet in the covers. And then we had the big house in Virginia that was this big, huge Victorian. It used to be the emergency hospital for the Civil War. And the room across from our room was the dispensary. It's where, it was a dispensary. It had 6 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It was huge, 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 huge home. And Sam worked nights. The kids were in Florida. I was by myself, 3 o'clock in the morning. I had no idea about all this stuff, and I would just wake up. And I was in the bed one night, and I had a little dog named Cookie. And Cookie got up on the bed, and every hair on her little rat terrier body stood up. And my feet I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? And then my toes started wiggling. And I wasn't doing it. I have not slept with my feet out of the cover since. It really scared the shit out of me. Oh my gosh. Typing, not talking. I know, still breathe. Actually, no, where there are spirits in my home now. Really? Spirit saw me and walked by kitchen window today. Thought it was a real person. Waited for them to pass the other window. And guess what? No one's there, right? Well, my thing is jumping. I must need to charge my, I'm so into it. I really am. At this moment, I'm ready to go on an investigation. Let's see. My things jumped. Okay. No one was physically there. Let's see. Yes, the dead are drawn to those that can sense, hear, feel them, all that. They really, really are. They like the recognition, and it is an anchor for them. And a lot of times, you'll find that they may be doing that subconsciously, maybe trying to get help. Oh my gosh, Camp's getting woke up with something talking in your ear, right? Right? Some spirits do want to be left alone. You're totally right, Samantha. Some want to be left alone. And I don't even know why. What the heck? I just had a cave pop into my mind, like an old mine shaft. I don't know if that's got to do with anything. That was just the weirdest thing. But some do like to be left alone. And I don't know if that's related to some sort of situation where somebody was scared out of a work situation. I don't know what the heck that has to do with anything. They didn't give me any more information. I'm gonna kill that dog. Do respect the little girl. Yeah, sometimes you find that as you're going into investigation, you'll know whether they want to be left alone or not. But most of the time, when you go in, they're either not aware you're there, and they're just that reoccurring activity. And when you do find ones that want to interact, they just answer simple questions. You don't get a sense of, please help me generally, in the form of communication. You may feel it though. You may absolutely feel it. And Jennifer lives near me. Or Jennifer here? Fawn, you live near Laura? Really? It's been investigated prior to me moving in, yes. Huh? Really, girls? Huh. We should find a haunted hotel somewhere. Laura and you know each other. We should find a haunted hotel somewhere that'll let us do an investigation. Wouldn't that be fun? That'd be fun. You live near a haunted hotel. Which one do you live near? Kim's like, hey. Oh my gosh. It is, well, you know what? I'm actually wanting to plan Savannah for like May. And I really think we should like set up a block in the Marshall House. And when I travel, Sam just sits there and he lets me book stuff. He's like, where are we staying now? We stayed at the Orleans and on Bourbon Street the one time, and we've stayed in the Marshall House. Can you list some of the better devices? I do, the apps. Yeah, let me do that again. I have them in the presentation that will go on to the site. I'm surprised that we don't have Isis and Aaron on here. Yeah, breathe, Samantha. Jennifer doesn't get it. Jennifer wasn't in the class. So when we hold up the little sign that says breathe, Samantha, it's just funny. Okay, so if you're gonna, these were just the ones that I found that seem to be the most popular right now. Ghost Hunter M2. That one's developed by engineers. It's a little bit more technical. They really stepped into the cell phone technology and used what was available within the cell phone to detect rather than just be like a foo-foo thing. You know, like I'm going to take a picture of your aura and then 20 pictures later the same aura picture pops up. This is not that. Ghost Evp Sensor. What I liked about that particular app was it had the sliding sensitivity. If you have Dorito Girl sitting next to you eating chips, you can hit the sliding thing to cancel out that chip chewing noise. It really did annoy me, you can tell. And then the other one was the Echovox V, Echovox, VOX. And that's like a ghost box that you can get the words. You get the words, you can hear the words of energies around you as they're talking. Don't take it. Yes, that's correct spelling, Samantha, but it's one word. Don't take it as the gospel, you guys, with the Obelisk and the Echovox. I mean, they're a suggestion. They really are. I can't take them too seriously. Unless they're like, unless somebody comes through that box and is like, hey, Lisa, how you doing today? Then we got something going on. But there have been credible things happen where someone will say somebody's loved one name or something like that. So that does happen that way. I'm breathing. I'm typing. You was on 15-day restriction. That's right. No, that was the 3-month class we did, was when Samantha was in the class. We're getting ready to do another 3-month class starting in January. We're waiting until after the holidays to do another class. But that's going to be the 3-month class starting then. And that just is a weekly class. I have many gifts, master of none, including mediumship, right? You know, none of us are master of them. We are here. We're not a master of any of them. Yeah, right, Kim? There's no way I'd go into a room called the Devil's Room. I wouldn't. Not by myself and close the door. I know that sounds silly. But the thing was, this thing was said to lock the door and leave you in there, and you screamed until you come out like in a coma. Who the hell does that? You know, if there's a history of this and the EMS is on site, you know, no. But a lot of it is hype. But still, you never go into a situation like that by yourself and close the door. So, like in Salem, yeah. These are in Nebraska. There is one in Nebraska. How far are you from Nebraska? Melissa goes, nope, Devil's Room, not me. No, because here's the thing. We can be brave about going into something. We don't have to be stupid. We don't have to be stupid. Yeah. What is the Black Angel? I have no idea. The Conjuring? No. Hey, you know what? It would be a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun. You guys find out what's over there. And I travel. I don't mind driving. You know, and I'm probably not going to North Carolina until he has a facility that we can do what we need to do there, have the dogs, yeah. Trail cam. It'd be interesting to see the footage from the trail cam. Because as an intuitive, you can reach into it and kind of feel to see if there's anything there, but it really still isn't evidence. Because evidence is being able to see something, hear something, that's evidence. But as an intuitive, you can reach into it and see what you feel. Well, that's what I'm saying, guys. We'll get together and we'll do a hunt, an investigation. I was raised on the hunt. Sorry. That's how it started. Yeah, we're talking what? Jennifer, Laura, Nancy, anybody that's close enough to want to do it. I haven't noticed any mention of animal behavior around this kind of energy. Generally, when you do an investigation, I have them clear out the animals. So I don't rely on the animal energy, but yes, definitely people talk about their animals interacting with these energies. Of course, small children as well, both of which are removed from the home for any type of investigation because that. I don't have a door on this room because I have like barely any walls, but when you are investigating, you want to make sure that it is as quiet as possible. And birds are the worst. Birds are the worst. But birds, cats, dogs, all of it. We recommend that they either have them outside or whatever. Duct tape, not funny, Kim. Jennifer is in Nebraska. Okay. Excelsior Springs, Missouri. The Elms Hotel. Here, let me cut and paste that. I want to go to Kingsman. I think it's Kingsman. I can't remember where. I cut and pasted that so I can look it up. I can't remember. Sam and he took me up. If there's mummy soup for Samantha. Oh, you know what? Because we've had a lot of Great Danes, and one of the strangest things that you can have happen in the middle of the night is to be laying on your bed and have a ghost Great Dane jump up on your bed because the bed moves. And we just kind of go, normally it's a cat, but I have had Great Danes jump on the bed in the middle of the night, which is really kind of cool. More in the morning hours, like right before I wake up fully, I'll be laying in bed and you'll feel something move the bed, or right when you go to bed. So you do run across spirit energies, but usually they're associated to you and they love you enough to let you know they're still around. So that is, and you can find them on investigations, but they're more subtle. They're subtle energies. So they want to hang around the people they love. Oh, wait, what? No. Okay. I thought she said that was the Shining Hotel. That's a no for me. Okay. The Shining is out in Colorado, I believe. Yep. See, this is why we tell her to breathe. Sure, fingers. Slow your fingers down. Slow your fingers down. Cemeteries. Yeah, no. Slow. Okay. So I'm gonna, you can't, you're channeling. Okay. So we're going to end this, you guys. And you may burn in the Colorado Fox. This is so sad. So sad. I am totally down for a ghost hunt. I'll be like, I need new ghost hunting equipment. I want a FLIR. So kind of bad. Something's running at me. I want to know. Anyhow, this will be posted into the membership, classes, so you guys can view it again. I know you guys probably, I don't know if you'll be able to see the feed over here on the right or not, but if you do, you guys, you just have to go back and look at it because, oh my gosh, she cracks me up. Okay, the Stanley Hotel. The Stanley Hotel, yeah. I don't know about that. I would like to go down to the Myrtle Plantation at least once. But Savannah does hold so much interesting things. Just walking down the street, you can feel the energies walking next to you, like you are, like they're right there. It's so cool. It's so cool. And I had the incredible experience of going when I didn't realize what was going on, and then a couple of years later going when I knew what was going on, going, wow. Trippy. So anyhow, the Myrtle, MYRTLE. Okay, guys, I am out of here, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you got something. You don't want to go to any plantations like ever. It's history. It's history, you know, and I've lived in the South. It just doesn't bother, you know, as much. I guess, I don't know. I just think that it's, we had several plantations around us. Yeah, your dog, there's huge, right? Okay, you guys, I'm serious talking about let's go on a ghost hunt. Let's do it. But I will talk to you guys later. And if you guys have any questions on this, put them in the comment section of the classes. And we are going to, yeah, we're going to cut this off. And then Wednesday, I think we have something going on. I have to check in the schedule. And then I believe at the end of the week, we have Sam doing a healing session. But then on Halloween night, I haven't posted this out there. Halloween night, we're going to do a live seance right here. And we're going to have it going streaming live. We're going to do table tipping and stuff. So yay. I'll put that on my mystical life too, I think, that evening. So that's just a kind of a bonus thing. So we will talk to you guys later, or I will. I don't know if I got a mouse in my pocket or not, but I will talk to you guys later. Have a great night. Thank you for joining in and having, I hope, an educational moment. St. Augustine. I'm all about it. I'm going to be in Florida here eventually in the next couple months anyways. So anyhow, okay. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.